You may disagree, but up to me, it's a fact. You're paying running backs, it ain't no fun in that. Yeah, the sermon about to start, so I hope you know your stats. And if Kev get it wrong, then Rashad on his back with the facts. Matter of fact, all we do is say wins. When wings, congregation say amen. Trades, debates, wins.
Welcome to Preach Kev, Preach with Rashad. We are the Providence Center episode, another sermon. Coming at you from Wildcard Sports here on Wildcard TV. Rashad, man, what's going on?
Day part of the year, man. It's October. You got the Halloween movies, you got pumpkin patches, fairs, funnel cake, man. Everything going on right now, man. It's a good vibe out here in the streets.
Yeah, man. NFL
is, stay safe.
Yo, see, pandemic still going. NFL going strong. NBA starting up. Baseball getting to the thick of it. The World Series around the corner. Yeah, it's a good time. Hockey just coming back, so it's a good time. Your four major sports all playing right now. It's a good time. So today, man, we're going to talk about the highs, the lows, a little bit in between. We're going to stick to NFL and NBA in this episode. So, you see a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Can you handle adversity? I think that's like the biggest thing in sports or in life. Whatever thing handle, can you manage the highs and the lows? Because everything won't be silver gold for you every time, but you gotta be able to handle when everything's turned to shit, right? So in the NFL, just a couple teams to talk about, and we'll just talk about whoever. It's a kind of more off the dome type of show. So Rashad, I got back from the Vikings Panthers game. I flew down for Saturday, went to the game Sunday, almost missed the flight because the game was so long. I don't know if you got a time to watch, if you watch the game, but it was the only game that wasn't really a blowout. But it should have been. Minnesota put up almost 600 yards on the Panthers, almost 300 more yards than the Panthers. When you saw the Rams blow out the Giants, the Chiefs dominate the Washington team in the second half. Packers, for the most part, dominated Chicago. We got Roger saying, I own you. But, you a lot of blowouts. But this game, and you talk about highs and lows, like as a Viking fan, as myself, it's like, we sitting here, have to kick a game-winning field goal against the Cardinals and the Lions. The team Lions who got no wins and a team the Cardinals who got no losses. Like, this is a team where, coming to the Prophet Theory, we have they can be 9 wins, or if things go right, they can get 11. Things go bad, they can go 7. And this is a perfect team that when you look at their record, 3-3, you be like, yeah, that make a lot of sense. When you fumble the ball against the Cincinnati Bengals, the game you dominate Seattle. You had Browns 14 points, and you couldn't score. You scored the first drive and couldn't score no more. And this team it's just a lot of ups and downs, man. And outside of Kirk Cousins, who've been playing phenomenal football, this team is just like one day the offense is great, next day the defense is great. But if they get pulled together, that's a whole different story. So that's my little spiel for the Vikings. It was a great game. I don't know if you watched it, but it should have been a great game. It should have been over with. But it went to overtime. Vikings pulled it out in overtime. But it was still a fun atmosphere, regardless of how my heart felt during the game.
Yeah, they're just one of those teams, man. They're always stuck in the middle. That's just their nature. They're always going to be that way. They kind of got to make some moves pretty soon as far as improving or just getting bad. I mean, you can't stay in the middle forever. So Kirk Cousins, I think his deal expires maybe next year, something like that. So at some point they got to figure out, is this the guy, not the guy? Is Zimmer going to stay, not going to stay? I mean, the ultimate question is always, all right, if we move on, what are we moving on to?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but they got to figure something out soon. I mean, they're always going to be up, down, up, down. One thing about the NFL values some form of consistency, whether it's from the quarterback or defense or a coach. They need to know what's at least the bare minimum, what's the baseline. And to be playoff team one year, not playoff team, hover around 500. All right, we can beat some teams, we can't beat certain teams. At some point, that's just frustrating from the fan base and front office standpoint, and you have to figure something out.
Yeah, yo, I was sitting there watching, and I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I said, I changed my mind. Josh Rosen just as good as Sam Darnold. Like, and what I really was saying about that is, like, yeah, the receivers had a lot of drops in that game. Robbie Anderson, man, I don't know what going on with him in his mind, but like, I don't know how many chances Sam Darnold's going to get. Like, I know McCaffrey's hurt, and with McCaffrey, there was three. They won a lot of games, and I think they won 3 games with McCaffrey and lost all 3 without him. And obviously that changes things, right? Because he didn't have McCaffrey in New York. He had Robbie in New York, and he did nothing. So he got McCaffrey, and he was undefeated, looking good. But when you sitting there watching, like, you're like, man, some of the decision making he has, like, is he? If the Carolina Panthers don't, another team that's highs and lows, if they can't get this quarterback situation right, they're going to waste their, like, you know how you say always, like, you want to like, if you have a team where you're only paying really like 1 or 2 people, what happens when that defense that you drafted last year all got to get paid at the same time, and now you can't afford a certain quarterback or a certain whatever. Like, Sam Darnold, like, where do you go from Carolina? Because you had Teddy last year, you had Cam Newton the year before. Like, nothing's really working, and I don't know what you do, because Carolina seems to me like there'd be a team that's not sorry enough. If that makes sense, like they won't be top 5, but they won't be 15th pick either. And if you're not sorry enough, how are you going to get that quarterback or get that gym? You know what I mean? Like, so, like, what do you think they got to do?
Well, we know he'll be back next year. They already exercised the 5th-year option on him, so he'll definitely be back next year. It's what they do after that. A lot of people function better in year 2 of systems or under certain leadership and coaching staff. So we'll just kind of see what happens with him probably next year. I don't think he's the only guy who's on the chopping block. Depending upon where they land playoff-wise, draft-wise, stuff like that. Certain stuff you just don't see from just watching the games, like what's his locker room character like, what's his work ethic like. So if he's showing some flashes of things that they feel like, all right, he can be valuable, they may keep him around beyond next season, or they may go to the draft and try to find a successor, or with the way the NFL is as far as like just quarterback musical chairs, they may feel like they spent all their draft picks trying to fix the defense, and the defense has improved. And now just like, well, we got DJ Moore. Let's see what we got McCaffrey here. If Robbie can regain his form, you have him. So it's kind of like, let's see. We need to get a quarterback right at some point to be able to build upon that, because Tom Brady won't play forever. Like right now for that division, you really can say, I don't know who the second best quarterback is. Is it Matt Ryan, who's been surging lately? Is it Jameis, who don't even have 1,000 yards, but touchdown to INT wise, he's played pretty good. And you got Darnold, who at one point was leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns, and he had a couple of good games, but now he's just kind of falling off the map. So division wise, the second best QB is kind of up for the taking. Right. But they're stuck with Darnold for at least next year, which is not a bad thing. Like, you want to always be flexible roster-wise, financially. So if he's not the guy, you draft somebody, or you can always hit free agency and kind of see what's going on with the Kirk Cousinses, with the Jimmy G's. There's just going to be so many guys that become available in the next year or two. The Derek Carrs, Deshaun Watson's out there for trade. There's rumors he may get dealt to the Dolphins this week. Right. So, I mean, there's stuff out there. You can always land somebody free agency, trade-wise, and, the draft is always risky because everybody doesn't translate from the draft to the pros well.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like this episode is pretty more like that you put the GM hat on, because you mentioned the guys like the Kirk Cousins or Jimmy G could come available. I don't like the draft this year, at least so far. But yeah, so you made a good point. Like, what do you do? Because you talk about the quarterbacks, and yeah, Tom Brady won't play forever, so you can grab the number 1 spot. Like, you can grab the best, because Matt Ryan can't play ever either. And no, I don't think nobody will sit on the table and say without Brady, without Matt Ryan, Jameis is the best in the division. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody gonna sit here and scream he's a top 20 quarterback right now. Like even we'll have to see if he get more toys. What can he do? Because when he had Evans and Godwin, he looked good for the most part. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you looking around trying to scratch your head, trying to find because it's crazy how many times I always had to say this. I was like, man, growing up, you'd be like, man, why is there so many quarterbacks getting drafted every year? That's because teams can't find that franchise guy. Because like, how many franchise guys are there? Like maybe like 9. Like that you consider like franchise next 10.
I'll give it 12. I'll give it 12.
Okay, so like we mean like I guess we franchise. I guess you mean like for the obviously the Rodgers a little
like
older,
if we just go like division by division, I think Cardinals, Rams, and Seahawks have their guy.
Right.
And I think 49ers just at least drafted their guy for the next 45 years. But we don't know what Trey Lance is going to be. But we'll just go like proven commodities. We'll go.
Yeah, do proven. Yeah, do proven.
Yeah, a proven commodity. We'll just go Kyler, Stafford, and Russ.
3.
Because he's probably going to play for at least this year and maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll throw Brady out there.
Yeah.
I think you got to put Dak in there.
Yep.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers in there. You got to put Lamar Jackson. I think you got to go Joe Burrow too. Like
yeah. Joe Burrow, yeah.
I know he's still pretty young right now. You got to go Joe Burrow. You got to go Mahomes. You got to go Herbert.
Yep, 10. You got 10 right now.
You got to go Josh Allen.
Yep, 11.
And wherever Deshaun Watson lands.
Okay, so yeah, 12. Yeah, that's good. Because like
a third of the league.
Because it's crazy because. All right, so yeah, so you got your proven commodities as far as franchise quarterback because I would throw Tannehill and Cousins in there just because at the end of the day
I won't though
because at the end of the day think about this though,
like is it a hard see like I left off Tannehill, I left off Cousins and Derek Carr because those are the guys who are like that next tier, but at the same time those are always the guys. Even like the Carson Wentz, where you feel like, can I really win with this guy? Like whenever the names come up, it's always like, how far can you really go with this guy as your quarterback? Like Kirk Cousins has always been fighting the primetime win record narrative. Tannehill has been beyond terrible without Arthur Smith. Like Tannehill is not the Tannehill we saw the last 2 years. Derek Carr he plays great, but at the same time, you know, he has limitations too. So it's like, how far can he really carry you? Is he going to stay with the Raiders? Does he need to go get a new change of scenery? So like those 3 guys, and plus we're still trying to figure out who Carson Wentz really is because there's been some games where he looks like crap, and there's been some games where he should have been the MVP if he didn't get hurt. And there's been some games with the Colts where he's almost led them to some great victories. So guys like those 3 to 4 right there, you have to still kind of figure out what their ceiling is going to be in the NFL.
Like I don't know how to maybe people might take this the wrong way but like for like a guy like Tannehill, how many people in that Titans Houston Oilers franchise is better than him from a quarterback standpoint? Maybe Steve McNair. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
It depends on what you're looking at. You gotta go Steve McNair. You gotta go Peyton Manning. I still go Andrew Luck over Tannehill. If you look at like this, the history of that division, who's all been there, Colts, Jags,
right,
Texans, and Titans, I think Tannehill may fall in like the 4th or 5th spot, like
so
ranking wise, behind Peyton Manning and McNair. I still think Andrew Luck better than anything Tannehill's ever done. Too.
I think because like, when you look at the Titans, that's another thing. Because like when we talk about Titans, like up and down would be like if Derrick Henry isn't King Henry, like how do Tannehill deliver, right? And with Arthur Smith, he has. I think the season will turn around for Tannehill. You got to think like you got new toys that wasn't even being like you lost Corey Davis and Jonnu, replaced it with Julio and Frisker with the new OC. So I'm gonna get that a little time, but yeah, I might not count Tannehill as a franchise quarterback. I think you can count Cousins and Carr. I will lean Cousins and Carr more, just because if they come available, how many teams are going after them? Like you name what 11 people, 10 people that's franchise. I think every other team would go for Carr and Cousins. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, obviously you got the teams who just drafted their guys, but if let's just say you had the choice between Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins or Carr and Trey Lance, like you know who you're taking. I think
Well, I mean that's dependent upon coaching staff. All that are very on coaching staff. Like
I don't know.
Like does Kyle Shanahan like Jimmy G? Does he like Kirk Cousins? Yeah, but for his style of offense and stuff, I think he needs that dynamic guy like a Lance can be that can be a dual threat of running game, passing the ball. So I think a lot of it depends upon like the state of that franchise. Who's the coach? Like what are they trying to do?
I don't know. I probably would never take Trey Lance over Carr Cousins if circumstances are the same. Like you said, you can look at the Raiders situation, look at 49ers, and you can say, well, I need my quarterback to do a little bit more because of I got less or something like that. Then yeah, I can see what you're saying. But yeah, but either way, it's like I guess the point I'm trying to make about the quarterbacks is like, you know, with a guy like Kirk, a guy like Carr, you mentioned about how far can somebody take you. It's like, damn, the rest of the league is always playing catch up to those franchise quarterbacks. Like, how many of those teams that you didn't name like are actually good teams, right? Like when you go to the NFC West, you didn't mention the 49ers, and right now they're 2-4. But with Jimmy G being healthy, they probably have a chance to, make noise in the NFC West. You talk about can a team like you see how bad a team like the Lions and a team like the Jets are, and a team like the Texans, like they don't have the guy because we talk about the young rookies, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, can they? Joe Burrow and Herbert within 1 year, we already saying they franchise 10+ years, lock it in quarterbacks. Can T-Law get to that point? Can Fields get to that point? And that's why you see those teams had those ups and those downs a lot, just because of course Chargers got their ass with this past weekend, but I mean for consistency, Chargers are going to be a solid team from here on out for a while, as long as the GM does the right things, put the right talent around Herbert. Like you put the right things around those type of guys, I don't see those teams falling off. You don't see the Ravens falling off no time soon. Bills falling off no time soon. Like, and that's so you got to get that right first. I think that's like the main component. Like you get that because did you see the the Darrell Reeves episode with on I Am Athlete yet?
No, I ain't really watched a lot of TV lately.
So they was talking about, who was it? Is it Brady or Bill? And Ocho Cinco was saying like Brady stayed the same, which allowed Bill to change everything around him, and you still win success. Like, and I was thinking like, to me, I was like, they go hand in hand when you have a great coach. Like, because Brady's so great, you can get away with this receiver being sorry or this linebacker not being up to par, where a Trevor Lawrence, a Tua need Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, and all these crazy athletes, because how are you going to survive in this world? So I don't know, man. It's when you watching the football and you watching the games, I be sitting there like, yo, damn, they got to draft a quarterback. They just got one, or they just signed a quarterback. They got to get another one because this ain't it. Like you mentioned the Dolphins one, like they got to get Watson, bro. Like,
but that's the state of the game, man. Like if people really just went back and looked at all the trends of the NFL, there's always going to be a top 12 guys, and the other 20 teams are either drafting free agency wise or just kind of patching it up year by year. Like this, it always been like that. Like you can pick any franchise that, like any franchise, it's always been like that. Like the Bengals, they had Dalton for a little while. Like the Ravens had Flacco for a little while, but those weren't top 12 guys. They were just stable guys for the time. Yeah. And then you had some other teams that were just running through quarterbacks, So that's always been the game. Like if you look at like Washington, RG3, Case Keenum, Ryan Fitzpatrick, like there are certain franchises you can point like it will always get a quarterback. Look at Denver. We all talk about Denver. Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, Brett Rippon. Like there are certain franchises that always just are just constant turnover for QB. Jaguars with David Garrard and some other guys, Byron Leftwich.
Shout out Byron, man.
Blake Bortles. So like everybody's always, it's all about 12 top guys. And that 12 would kind of alternate depending upon where certain guys are in their career. Like Stafford with the Lions, he was basically carrying them. He's a great talent. He was kind of carrying the Lions. Matt Ryan had a little stretch. Drew Brees with the Saints.
Right.
So, I mean, you have certain stretches where like that top 12 will slightly evolve, but normally about eight of those 12 will stay the same for like a decade, because you had Brady for a long time, Peyton Manning for a long time, Brees for a long time, Big Ben for a long time, Favre, Rodgers, like just throwing some names out. We always have like a certain crop that's going to be there for a while, and then you'll kind of start to see some of those guys age and funnel out, and some other guys will start to come in. How Russ came in and emerged, stuff like that.
Cause like you great point about the AFC North when you talk about Dalton and Ravens. With those two, they were still 9-10 wins. While you had Big Ben up here, elite for so long, they multiple championship appearances, Super Bowl appearances. Yeah, Flacco did get one in there, but the Bengals, the Browns,
the Bengals had a couple 10-win seasons, but they weren't really just an elite team. They were just a consistent team.
And then Browns could never get it right. Down here at the bottom every time out about now. Now you saw like we talked about it before the show. Like now it was like kind of like leaning a little bit with Baker's up here, Big Ben's coming down. Now Lamar skyrocketing and Burrow skyrocketing. So like now you see the balance. Like okay, Bengals actually can be good this year. Like Zach Taylor gonna double his wins like real quick. Like what I'm saying, like
exactly.
And then you talk about Steelers, like okay, now you see why they're struggling a little bit. Like the defense ain't as good as it used to be. So now Big Ben not good enough to carry no more. And that's the thing. Like you have a very small window to capitalize. Like every 3 years you have to retool. Like unless you have the guy like the Mahomes and the Brady, the Rodgers, where you can like retool. Like you can really replace the whole defense, and it won't matter as much. Like the Chiefs, they was sorry. Remember that year they was sorry as hell. Then the next year they was solid, and now they back sorry again. And as long as you got Mahomes, they can still win championship. And that's kind of crazy because like you talk about the teams that's like consistent, the Bengals. Let the defense be sorry 1 year. They 3-13. Like let Dalton miss.
Yeah, because Marvin Lewis was defensive minded and was pretty solid. Like they could win 10 games and kind of hold steady. But if they had just a bad injury or something went wrong, they were gonna be a 5-11 team. Like they'll still be competitive, but they would cut their wins in half from 10 to 5.
And that's crazy for like those teams that you need everything to go right, or you need guys because like my Vikings last year, like they were a little slightly on the 500, but you missed the whole defense, and now you got the fans saying Zimmerman lost a step. Like I'm like, bro, he had bench players. Like relax, or whatever it is. And you talk, and that is the crazy part about those teams. Is it any other team, man? Because like you talk about the Dolphins, you mentioned them a little bit. Are you think Watson go there? Pretty sure.
Yeah, they're talking about getting a deal done sometime this week, or at least by next week, because I think the trade deadline is November 2nd or 3rd.
How much you giving up?
So I mean, they're talking about it's going to be a 3-team. Like sources saying it's going to be a 3-team trade with Washington involved. So if projections go how they're saying, that'll land Watson in Miami, Tua will land on Washington. So it kind of depends upon what's Washington going to be the one sacrificing, because Texans they're bad. So they want draft picks. And in the past, the Texans and Dolphins have done business. I mean, they traded Larry Tunsil, some other stuff. So it's kind of like what teams put together to send to the Texans to kind of help them facilitate the rebuild. Because I feel like when you draft a quarterback, you're looking for a 2-contract guy, which is basically a 10-year quarterback. So if you're not drafting a 10-year guy, why draft him? Like for the Browns, like that, they trying to get it right just to get something steady. But for the most part, you're looking for a 10-year guy. Or Mahomes, the Ravens really kind of stumbled on Lamar because he, fell at 32.
Yeah,
Herbert's gonna probably be a 10-year guy. Watson, I think, is a 10-year guy. So basically, the Texans have to start their whole franchise over because you're losing a 10-year quarterback unless you go to jail, of course. Well, we don't want to speak on that, but just got to put out the legal matters play a part. Like Ray Rice and some other guys, they was out the league because of legal matters. So Greg Hardy, some other guys, Antonio Brown's out the league because of legal matters. So the legal stuff plays a part. So the Watson can be a 10-year guy for you, barring legal issues. But the Texans starting over. Davis Mills ain't it. Tyrod
was nice now. First
Yeah,
two games.
Tyron's been one of those guys that we talk about that he will patchwork your franchise for a year or two. I mean, he was in Buffalo, uh, Chargers. I
Cleveland.
mean, lately he just patched up for 2 games where he get hurt or get benched.
Or punch a lung. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah, man. So like the Texans, they need draft capital. The Texans, their best player is Brandon Cooks. I mean, fantasy wise, he's been bulletproof. I mean, he still can get you 8 to 12 on the fantasy football team, but on the scoreboard right now, the Texans need some help.
I was outside that Patriots game, they don't put a point at all. Like it's sad. The Texans need a lot of help. And the thing is, like, if you're gonna be Houston, if you're gonna go through this whole process where you fire BOB, you're getting rid of your quarterback, all front office changes, you have to preach patience. That's just what they have to, like, you're gonna have to be patient about it, because I don't see how you can sit here and like get mad at David Culley and be like, oh, you should have did better. Well, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be realistic. I preach that a lot. Like, if you don't be realistic about stuff, like, your expectations are trash. Like, but do you like the Washington Tua thing? Like, you think they should be getting involved with Tua? Because I don't.
Like, see, Washington, they just need something.
They just try anything.
Like Washington and Miami are the perfect examples of when reaching goes wrong, because they went and got Haskins. He didn't last a year. So like, and that's what I was saying. Like, when you draft a guy, draft a 2 contract guy. Your rookie deal runs 4 to 5 years, and then you sign your other deal for another 4 to 5 years. So draft a 2 contract 10-year guy. They spent a top pick on Haskins. Well, I mean, we can back up further than that. You drafted RG3, then you drafted Kirk Cousins, same draft class. So that was going to be a weird dynamic from jump, because like, this is a first round pick, and he was like a 3rd, 4th round pick, which is normally a capable starter in the league, which is what Kirk is. So you drafted 2 guys because you weren't fully confident in RG3.
Well, I say Mike Shanahan wasn't fully confident in RG3.
Yeah, so like, you're just already setting yourself up for drama as is. Right. All right, yeah, he gets hurt, battles back, things go how they go. You put Kirk in. Now 2 guys you took in 1 draft class, you just said forget both of them, move on. You're trying to patch it up again. You get Haskins. He's way worse than both of those guys. So now you back trying to patch it up again. So they're one of the franchises that. So like, now you're looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick, Heineke, who else they had over there? Case Keenum, Alex Smith. Like, you're just trying when you could just be stable. Yeah. And the same thing happened to the Dolphins. Like, they brought in Chris Greer, they brought in Brian Flores. They were trying to build this culture out, get out guys that didn't want to buy in, or they thought they could get assets for. So you see Minka leave, you see Tunsil out. And now you have this year where you get those 3 first-round picks, and then you go get Tua coming off surgery. We know the history of Alabama or big program QBs coming to the NFL. It's a very, very low success rate.
It is.
So, but they still took the chance on Tua. Herbert goes after. We see Herbert hit the ground running from day one. Tua couldn't get on the field. This is a first-round pick. You were benching him to win games in the 4th quarter for Fitzpatrick. Like, this dude was coming in cold even when you game.
Relief closer.
Yeah, they were doing baseball stuff. They were bringing them. Hey, you do what you gotta do the first couple of quarters, but when you only got 96 yards at the half, we're pulling you for Fitzpatrick. So just from a mental standpoint, that's probably hurting Tua.
Yep.
Coaching staff wise, they probably don't believe in him as they should have. So now they're stuck. They've been searching for a QB since Dan Marino.
That's sad.
And Marino was drafted in '84. I think he retired in like 2000.
Yeah, something like that.
So like, they've been reaching for a QB ever since then. Chad Pennington, Jay Fiedler.
Damn, who was the head? Ryan Tannehill for a little minute there.
Yeah, they had Ryan Tannehill.
I can't remember who was in that gap.
Wasn't him up.
I don't remember who was in that gap in between the Pennington and Tannehill. I can't even.
Man, they've had Dante Culpepper.
Oh, Dante Culpepper. That's what it was. Yeah.
Like, they've had so many guys in Miami, and this when reaching goes wrong. Like, they thought Tua was the guy when it was really Herbert.
I'll say,
you put Herbert down here, they fight with the Bills to be the playoff team.
Oh yeah, easily. You talking like Dolphins could be one of the best teams in the league. Like, Devontae Parker went crazy with Fitzpatrick. What do you think he's gonna do with Herbert and Waddle. Like you bring Waddle in the next year. That's a little crazy. Now, like those teams who get the quarterback, look at the Dolphins, and you need to stop crying when you get a good one, because they obviously hard to come by. If you got Dan Marino for 20 plus years, or almost 20 plus years, and you ain't found one yet, and he been gone for 20 years, come on now. Like rarely do you get lucky with the Packers when you get a legend and a legend right behind it, or the 49ers getting a legend and a legend right behind it. You rarely get that. The Patriots, they ain't like. Do you believe Matt Jones would be the guy? Like, I don't know. Like some of these guys just got drafted. They're young, trying to prove themselves, but if you don't have a top 5 QB in your conference, you're not gonna win a title. and like that's the dilemma with Baker. Like Baker's probably like 7th through 9th in the AFC. Yeah. He's not better than Lamar. He's not better than Herbert. He's not better than Josh Allen. So that's already 3 guys right there. You're not better than Mahomes. You're not better than Burrow, I don't think. No, I'll take Burrow for over.
So you're already 5. That's 5 guys already.
Yeah,
and we're not even discussing just like the debatable topics.
I'll take Carr.
Tannehill. Like I'll take Carr or Baker.
Yeah. So yeah,
how can you pay a guy $30-40 million and he can't justify it? You can't even be in the top quarter or the top third of your conference.
Yeah, you can't justify even with the top, because we talk about the Browns roster being one of the best in the league. And you telling me we can't. You start off almost beat the Chiefs week 1, and now you potentially might be 3 and 4. Like,
and I don't care about Odell being hurt and coming back. I don't care about Landry being hurt. I don't care about Chubb being hurt. I don't care about Hunt being hurt. I don't care about anybody being hurt. That is the point of drafting a quarterback. They have to cover up for shortcomings, because when you pay the quarterback, the roster becomes shorter on certain things, and you have to keep drafting that to stay cheap. Yeah. So why pay this guy $30-40 million if he can't cover up the shortcomings when the RB goes down, when the receiver goes down?
Yeah, and he's not, going to be able to. And what happened? And then you draft the tackle, you pay for the tackle, and then they get hurt, and then you go down because you can't run for your life. You're not athletic, not athletic enough to do whatever. But that's the thing about, like, I guess you talk about realistic expectations. Are you expecting Baker to? I mean, we drafted you number 1 over Josh Allen, over Lamar Jackson. Do you sit here and be like so? You just said he's 8th best, maybe AFC. So with that expectation, are you mad that if they don't make the play, like let's say they underachieve, but you got Lamar in the playoffs, Allen in the playoffs, Mahomes in the play. You know what I'm saying? You got 5 quarterbacks who better than you in the playoffs. Are you really like? You know what I'm saying? You got to try to say like are you?
Success. You have to judge success off of the realistic expectation. And coming into the season, the expectation was Browns would be at least a playoff team, right? Possible Super Bowl contender. So they don't make the playoffs. Yeah, they had injuries, but I mean that's part of the game. Football is one of the most physical, grueling sports out there. So injuries are part of the game. Your quarterback has to be the guy that can weather the storm. Yep. So to not make the playoffs, that's going to fall on somewhat Stefanski and somewhat Baker. But it's going to probably fall more on Baker because at this point, he's almost at a 60-game sample size. We know what you are. You've been up some years. You've been down some years. And at this point, it's like, do we make the investment in you? Yeah, the Browns have been browning for years with missing on QB. So they are in that dilemma of this guy. He's marketable. He sells tickets. He has a name, big following. Because when you can divide a fan base, or at least divide a room with Baker's this and Baker's not this, when you can be that that dynamic of personality, when you can divide the room, that sells tickets. So you kind of want that as a Browns to sell tickets, right? But at the same time, you look at your history and you feel like we've been missing all these years. We have a stable guy. But for him to be our quarterback, we got to pay him less to continue to put the roster around him. And the question will be, does he take less? That's
the thing. I was about to say, but you've seen teams don't trust. Teams show you and coaches show you what they believe in, right? Like just for example, like just at the Vikings game, we put the ball, took a delayed game, put the ball because our kicker missed a field goal already. Like we ain't about like you see the coaches telling you what they don't. I don't trust the kicker. Like you saw
McDermott just ran the ball with Josh Allen. It's like I'm gonna trust my 6'5" QB over. Yeah, the field goal is right there, but we plan to win the game.
But,
go for the first down.
I was gonna say, and I guarantee McDermott would make the same call 10 times out of 10.
I mean, Harbaugh's done it. Like, well, Lamar, you want to go for it? Yeah, Lamar,
go get it.
Yeah, your coach said go for it.
Yeah. So then, what was that? Against the Chargers a couple weeks ago, where 3rd and 10, they run the ball. Come on, like they run the ball and put the ball back. Like that's all you need to know about what Stefanski thinks about, Baker Mayfield. Like, do you pay him? We see the Dolphins. Like, do you believe in Tua? They haven't shown us that they really. They threw the ball 40 times after he hurt his ribs, but they don't. I don't think if you already in trade talks, they don't trust you. You got the Falcons coming up. You got the Jets coming up, and we want Watson, who can't play this year. What'd I tell you? Like what?
Like Tua is in his make or break schedule right now. Like the trade deadline's coming up, but right now the Jags game, he played pretty good, but they lost.
Yeah.
The next 2 games, really the next 2 to 4 games, that's gonna be almost Tua's make or break his career. Because he can get traded, but if that franchise has the same limitations that you have with the Dolphins, how much better can he really get?
Yeah. It's crazy because all these quarterbacks are young as hell and they just got drafted. Baker just got drafted. Tua, Daniel Jones,
Daniel Jones gonna be up out of there.
The list goes on.
I feel like that's gonna be Russ's spot in the next 1 or 2 years. I feel like Seattle and Russ is kind of going to that meeting of the heads at some point. Like Pete Carroll's kind of getting older.
Yeah.
And then you got Russ he already put the list out there. So, I mean, I just feel like
Giants, he a Yankee.
With getting injured, I feel like Russ can be on the Saints or the Giants in the next year or 2.
Isn't Russ still a Yankee? Oh, he got traded.
I don't know.
Because I remember he do his spring training workout with whoever baseball team. I think he was on the Yankees. I think he got traded to the Yankees or something like that. So that makes sense. You can go get the Deion Sanders on real quick. Might as well.
Yeah, I don't think he spends his whole career in Seattle. Yeah, he signed a contract, but I feel like the NFL, the top guys, they're getting that that NBA mindset. I'm gonna get the money and not ask for a trade later.
See,
Rodgers gonna be about a Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay, yeah. I'm about to say Rodgers gonna be done. So Seattle gonna be a team that's gonna be like the Dolphins, where you don't even have. They might not even have a roster good enough to even do anything. Like they gonna be sorry as hell. Like imagine this is gonna be when Russ leaves. What you see in Seattle? Cause think about it. Who was before Seattle? Who was before Russell? Matt Hasselbeck.
Hasselbeck, Charlie Whitehurst, and some other guys.
Matt Hasselbeck was the stable guy. You're not getting another Russ. That's just being realistic. And you might not get a Hasselbeck. You might be the Giants and the Dolphins. You might be searching for a long time. And that's the scary part about being a GM. Because I don't even know you can't even sit here and say if you got a franchise quarterback, you don't have to worry about the quarterback position.
And Seattle's thing is they didn't even draft Hasselbeck. They kind of got him. I think it was in a trade or free agency, but they didn't even draft him. He was in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So they got him for a decade out of off of Green Bay, and he luckily turned into a stable guy.
Right.
Of course, the early 2000s to present day QB standards were different, but to have a guy that was stable, 25-15, 24-12, almost 4,000 yards like that. That was decent for that.
Yeah, you can't beat. You can't.
Sean Alexander running the ball.
You can't beat it.
Decent.
You can't beat it, and that's the thing. Because think about it. You draft a quarterback. Let's say you the guy that drafted Mahomes, right? Mahomes. So you stick around because Mahomes will keep your job for 10 years, whatever. Mahomes leave. You're not gonna hit again.
If you're the owner, you done made your money, so you're good. It's your franchise. So the Hunt family, they'll stay around. But GM wise, you might have to go and take another job because it's like
you're not gonna hit that again
unless they just paying you that crazy money where you like I can't do it. I can't leave this money on the table.
Yeah.
But most times it's like you get Mahomes. That's a guy that'll play for 17 to 20 years. At that point, you're like, I can go and retire too.
Yeah, you're right. Cause think about it. All right, Packers.
So what else I'm gonna do?
The Packers. When Rodgers leave, Jordan Love. I mean, I'm not saying he can't be. I'm just gonna lean the side that he won't be that guy. Like I'm just gonna lean that side. So what is LaFleur gonna do? He's 26. What's the Packers record? 5-1 right now. So he's what?
Yeah.
31 and 7.
Like they ain't lost 10 games yet. If you count the playoffs, they ain't lost 10 games yet.
30. So you what? So you probably 32 and 9.
Yeah, because they were 13-3 the first 2 years, 5-1 now. So that's 7 losses. Plus they lost in the NFC Championship both times.
So and the Packers think hey, now we gotta change gears because that made me mad. That boy 31 and 7 in 3 years. You thinking? Oh, Matt LaFleur. When you look at the record wise, Matt LaFleur one of the best coaches in the league. All right, watch what happen when he gets Jordan Love.
And Rodgers and Adams covering up a lot of that stuff, and both of them could leave after this season because Adams didn't get a contract. Adams didn't get a contract. They may franchise tag him.
Better.
And Rodgers gonna ask out. I think Rodgers this is his last year there. Whether he goes to the Browns, Pittsburgh, Denver, wherever Aaron Rodgers decides to go, he'll be there. But Adams might get franchise tag, and then even then he might demand that. He might pull a Mike Thomas.
Yo, Packers crazy as hell. 31 and 7. Oh, let's go draft the quarterback. We don't need Rodgers no more. He's stupid as hell. That's terrible. All right, they're gonna be on the major low after 2 highs in a row, but Brett Favre and Rodgers. Oh yeah, you done. Ain't no way you better get another one.
They were basically in the gutter before they got Brett Favre, and they didn't even draft Brett Favre. He was on the Falcons.
I don't even remember. I don't even know who played for Green Bay. All I know is Bart Starr, Gap, Brett Favre. I don't.
And they were lucky to get him, but he was on the Falcons, so they were lucky to get Brett Favre.
Wait, Brett Starr? I said it right? Is that
yeah,
Cowboy?
Yeah,
okay.
Bart Starr, yeah.
Bart Starr, yeah, okay, make sure. Starr, Cowboys, that's what I think. Hell, like, that don't make sense. Never mind. All right, so change gears. Last 20 minutes. NBA season started. He had the Bucks beat the Nets. Lakers lost to the Warriors. So we got highs and lows, but we're gonna that's like the over and the under. We got the teams that are grouped in like how many wins they're gonna get. We're gonna talk about the group, each group, and we'll just go down and listen whatever we talk about. So the teams that are over 50. I guess the question I want to ask you: 1, are they contenders, real contenders? 2, are they going to disappoint? So Brooklyn Nets, Bucks, Jazz, the Lakers, the Suns, and the Sixers are the only teams that's projected to get over 50 wins. Now, I can tell you who I don't believe in, and that's the damn Sixers. I don't believe in them one bit. 50 wins with just Embiid and Tobias, unless Seth turn to Steph, I ain't buying it.
Yeah, I mean, of that group, there's only 3 contenders. That's the Lakers. Any team that has LeBron James as a contender. Right. Any team that has Kevin Durant as a contender. Any team that has Giannis as a contender. Pretty much is what it boils down
to. That's fair.
Like you got the defending champs, the 2 year ago champs, and then you got the best player in the world, in my opinion, Kevin Durant, along with another top 5 player, James Harden. So those are the 3 contenders to me. Nobody else. Philly shouldn't hit 50 games. We're back to 82 game season. Embiid gonna miss 18 to 22 of those because of low management. So
I think that's a good bet.
Based upon that's gonna lower you some right there. The Ben Simmons thing is playing out how it's playing out. My boy Shoto with the sweats and the iPhone. I mean, he doing what he got to do to get a phone. That's the nature of the game. When you don't comply with the player, they have every right to make it a bad environment to get me up out of there.
Yeah.
So depending upon who they get back in return for being, they could be a contender. They could be a 50-win team. If you saying they're gonna get Dame, 50-55 win team. Yeah. If you saying they get De'Aaron Fox, who I've been beating the table for the Kings to trade, that's a 50-55 win team. But if you're not getting one of those guys, you won't get 50 wins and you won't be a contender. Suns, they're on the way down to me. I thought last year was lightning in the bottle. They haven't paid DeAndre Ayton, so he may be on the trade block. We got to see what happens with that. And then the Jazz are the ultimate regular season team. They're going to get 50 plus wins every time, as long as Donovan Mitchell don't get hurt. But contender wise, I can't put the Jazz in the contender stats until I really see it.
Yeah, and I think the Jazz are probably the most complete team. Cause like you don't really rely on, like, yeah, you want Gobert to be the best defensive big man. You want Mitchell to prove he's a top, if he's playing as a top 2 shooting guard, obviously behind Harden, then you saying something, right? But like, when you got Ingles, you got Bogdanovich, you got Conley, you got guys who can put the ball in the basket. Rudy Gay, I think that's a great addition. So of course, not a top 5 coach in my opinion, but you got probably the most complete team, but you don't have the Kevin Durant that you mentioned. You don't have Giannis. You don't have LeBron. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to a series versus series, are you really going to beat these guys? And if Mitchell don't perform to that level, who's the only one I think is capable of doing so? No, especially when KD and Harden can do it. I think Middleton and Drew Holiday has proven that they can rise to the occasion. Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. So the non big guys, KD, Giannis, LeBron, but you still got Harden and outside of Mitchell, who you banging the head on the table like, oh, they gonna show up. Like Clarkson? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it gotta be a team effort. And I don't know if that's gonna win a series. It can win playoff, it can win regular season games all day long. So like I can comfortably take Jazz over. Cause like you play Jazz on a Wednesday night, you can lose. But you play them in a series, all right, they can lose for a round. That's just
Jazz, they just play a style where they can get over 50 wins easy, but playoff time when we gonna see you potentially 7 times in 12 days, we can just lock in on Mitchell and double this or take away that. And now you asking guys who average 15, 18 points to have to go out and get 25 sometimes. And they just can't. Not that they can't do it, they can't do it on a regular basis. Why they average 15, 18 points.
Right, exactly. All right. The next group, Dallas Mavericks, Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat, the Nuggets, the Hawks. They're all penciled in at 47 and 48 wins. So Mavericks, Warriors, Heat, Nuggets, and Hawks. With this group, it's a special group because I think the Heat big three is formidable when you're talking about against the Nets and the Bucks. I don't know if they can beat them, but I think their styles, the way they play, could push the Nets or push the Bucks. I think that the Bucks took care of them easily last year, but I think the addition of Kyle Lowry, you just assume Bam continue to grow and become a better player. Jimmy Butler, who's right number 12 in the NBA, in outside the top 11, he's number 12 for me. He's right there. The Warriors, you just got to think like with Steph Curry being so great, Klay Thompson will be back, and just all the coaching staff and the continuity they have, they're going to be around there. Luka too great, Jokic the reigning MVP. Like, so I guess the question is, do the Hawks hang with these guys in this group?
Yeah, I mean, Nate McMillan gave them some stability last year. Once they fired Lloyd Pierce, they kind of hit a great run, honestly, with the back half of the season.
Right.
So you kind of have to anticipate that will continue. They brought back basically the entire same team. You got Trae Young, signed his deal. He's growing and developing into a player. He should be an all-star this year. The thing you really got to look out for is, do they try to make like a splash trade with some of the young guys to like see where they're at, or do they continue that Warriors type way of building that young core and let them continue to develop? Because I mean, Herter, he is what he is, but he's a solid piece there. They gave John Collins some money, but he's a solid piece. He's not an all-star. He has a unique skill set, for us, like being able to dunk the ball and still shoot from range. So he has a unique skill set. But it's kind of like they made the East Finals last year, but it's like, how far do you think you can go this year? Because you won't catch anybody off guard the last 40 games this time. Everybody's going to know who the Hawks are. So I wouldn't put them in a 50 game cap, 50 win. Definitely somewhere between 45 and 50, with 50 being the top out point. I don't know. I want to see how they do this year. I mean, Trey should have an all-star year. It's just what's that second piece. Can Hunter and Reddish continue to develop and become what they were drafted to be?
Do you think so? You see the Warriors made the moves with the addition of Wiggins, Klay Thompson coming back. Those right there just good enough to me. The emergence of Jordan Poole, I think that's a key factor. The Nuggets, they made the moves right. Murray, Porter Jr., and then they brought Aaron Gordon. So that's your big four there. The Heat, the big three with Duncan Robinson, with Spo. Do the Hawks need to? You mentioned about do they need to go star hunting? Because if you're in this group, like if you're in this group, I think we can convincingly say like you expect the Warriors to get past the first round. You expect the Heat to get past it. Like if they're not playing the Heat, they're not playing the Lakers, the Nets, the Bucks. You expect the Heat to get past first round. You expect Luka to beat whoever that he's playing against first round. This Hawks team, are they good enough to? You saying like are you saying if this team don't make it to the second round, it's a failed season? Do we need to go get Bradley Beal? I know Bradley Beal keeps saying that he's there, but I'm just saying like Bradley Beal, Siakam, any type of star to put alongside Trae Young, because I guess you can count on John Collins and you can count on Bogdanovich enough, but I think they similar to the Jazz. Like you're probably not going to go too far in the series.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Hawks. Like I'm wondering, will they even think about pulling the trigger on a trade, because they are invested in this core. Yeah. Like Trae Young paid, Kevin Huerter just got paid, Gallo, Bogdanovich, they just got paid a year ago.
Capella.
They gave Capella an extension, and they just paid John Collins, and Hunter and Reddish are on their rookie deal. So to me, they are just fully invested in this core. So they're gonna just ride it for at least another year or two, see what happens with it. But there'll be a team that's based upon playoff seeding. Whoever they're matched up with, they can win first round.
Right. Yeah.
Because they did break the Nate McMillan stigma of a first round loss. Like they got to the East Finals. Normally he loses in the first round. So does everything regress back to where it normally does for Nate McMillan? You get a bad draw losing the first round, or will they continue to be a fringe contender? Because if you're basically putting Bucks, Nets in the East Finals as chalk the next couple of years, that means Hawks, Sixers, Celtics, teams like that will always be first and second round knockouts.
Yeah, and based off what they're saying for over under, Hawks will play Heat first round. Like Sixers will be the 3 seed.
That's a bad matchup.
That's a bad matchup for them. Yeah, exactly. So especially with the Kyle Lowry edition. All right, next group of teams: Boston Celtics, Clippers, Trailblazers, Pacers, the new improved Chicago Bulls, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Knicks. So these are all the rest of the teams that's penciled in to get 41.5 to 46 wins. So 41 to 46, slightly above 500 teams. So that's why I said again: Boston Celtics, Clippers, Trailblazers, the Pacers, the Bulls, and the Grizzlies and the Knicks. So these are probably your. And I think the Clippers are down here for obvious reasons. Kawhi Leonard, no ACL injury, ACL tear. So it's a Paul George led team with Reggie. Who else he got over there?
Morris, Ibaka, Zubac.
Yeah, that's probably right for a 45 win team. Boston Celtics, new coach. Still got the same weakness, Rashad. Ain't improve it. They're starting Robert Williams and Grant Williams at your center and power forward, both on the 6'9". So, they can Robert Williams can jump, but damn. Blazers new coach there as well with Chauncey Billups. Pacers new coach there as well. Rick Carlisle. I guess he's all the new guys, like the Bulls, the new team, the big four. I guess if you want to add Lonzo in there, and then the Grizzlies and the Knicks, the two grind teams. So that's not a bad grouping of teams. Like to say that they're all right there. The Knicks is the lowest of these teams. Like Knicks is the last team that you say is a good team, and to say they're gonna be 500, right there 500. I don't know. I just feel like when teams pick their weaknesses, I expect improvement. I expect Obviously, you can't predict injuries, but I expect Kemba and Fournier to be formidable pieces. Like this is a chance. This is why they lost to the Hawks. You couldn't score when they boxed Randall in. So now you got that. So is that going to be enough? Is Kemba going to stay healthy? The Blazers. How often? How many they got rid of Terry Stotts? Is Dame going to finally take over, and are they going to do something? Like it just those teams where you this or that, and they can go great or they can be bad.
I mean, that's an interesting group for honestly a bunch of reasons, man.
Right.
The team that probably stands out the most is probably going to be the Celtics. Got Ime Udoka. Lost a couple of things, but they did bring in Schroeder, who's on like a proven contract. I'm watching the Jaylen Brown thing. He hasn't came back from COVID yet, so I'm wondering how he comes back.
I think he's playing the opener. He played in the opener.
Yeah.
So
like I'm wondering how that impacts him. He was an All-Star this past year, so I'm wondering how that impacts him. What happens with Tatum? Like can Udoka basically do something different with him and Tatum, where it's not feeling like a my turn, your turn type of deal? They brought back Al Horford. There's going to be some floor space and some leadership, stuff like that. But he's on a huge contract. So if you really can't make a whole lot of moves and you're really not putting the Celtics in that top 3 of the East, and I don't think they can be in the top 5, honestly. I mean, because I still think Nets, Bucks, Heat, Hawks, and Bulls just on paper are better than the Celtics. And I love Tatum, but I think just on paper, those teams are better.
Yeah.
So Celtics and Sixers are teams. Sixers are a trade away from being in the top 3, 4, 5. But Celtics, I'm not sure. Like I love Tatum's game. I think he's one of the best 15 guys in the league. So he can carry them, but I think the Udoka addition and seeing what happens with the him and Brown Schroeder addition, how that plays out is going to be interesting. And I'm going to put Billy Donovan up there for Coach of the Year consideration. The Bulls should be a pretty solid team once they kind of get about 25 games down and find some chemistry.
Yeah. Boston, is it to me or are they just so redundant? Like, this is the only team. I'm not going to say only, but one of the only teams is like strictly is going off of I'm hoping my best player keep getting better. Because it's not like you tried the Kyrie, right? Got rid of Kemba. So you taking a step down, Kemba. I think for what Kemba was and what Dennis Schroeder is a step down. So like your point guard got worse,
especially on just the leadership wise. Like Kemba's a great locker room guy.
So
Schroeder's trying to make up for the money he lost.
Right. So he might have selfish motivation. So you're strictly saying Tatum and Brown are going to continue to get better, and that's not I don't think that's bad from a GM to say like we did right and these guys are become superstars, right? But that's it. Like Robert Williams, Horford, and Grant Williams. Like I know they've been system guys in your system, but come on, like that. I mean, I'm not. Maybe I just gotta watch them. I guess I gotta watch them before I can say what I really want to say. But like, this is a team that out of this group, I think they're the worst one. Like, I mean, obviously, I think they're better than the Grizzlies. But I think a Pacers and a Bulls team and a Knicks team can do so much more. I just think because Tatum is Tatum and Brown is Jaylen Brown, that's why you lean Boston over Knicks, or you lean Boston over Bulls, like just because at the end of the day, I got the best player on the floor. So I don't know, but the Celtics team, it kind of remind me of Seattle in the NFL, where like they just one snap away and they about to go the opposite way. And I don't. It may be this year. I don't know.
And I was about to say, man, like, I rock with the Pacers. I mean, we know Rick Carlisle's been around the game for a long time. They have a solid roster at all phases. Gabe brought in some more money. Sabonis, Turner. They got LeVert, T.J. Warren. I like Duarte.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of talent here. Yeah. So the question with the Pacers would be, how does Carlisle come in and influence the rotations, and what spots does he put guys in to be successful? If he does that and the guys take a liking to him because he's still kind of old school,
yeah,
I think the Pacers can be a pretty solid team too.
Health.
Oh yeah,
Health.
They've been bad with Lamb, Warren, LeVert. They've been down bad with injuries.
If you say Pacers are all going to be healthy, I know that's kind of say, but over 85%. 42 wins. Oh, they're gonna be a 4-5 seed. They can be a 4. They'll get bounced. I think they'll get bounced in the series, possibly. Because you relying on Sabonis and as your best. Your closers is LeVert. I think that come down to it. That's probably not the best thing, but yeah, over. Like I'll take you Bulls 42 points and 42 wins. Yeah, Knicks 41. Yeah, I'll take the over in those. I think the East is really good this year. Like they might beat each other, but East is gonna be really really good this year. The next group, these your what ifs, your Pelicans, your Hornets, your Kings, your Timberwolves, your Raptors, and I would say the Wizards. I mean, like I said, it's the what if. Zion, free Zion. Hornets, you just hope LaMelo continue to get better. Kings, free Fox, because they don't care about Bagley. He done. He not even in the rotation, bro. Like, can the Kings really afford that?
That's one of them things, man. The Kings are almost starting to king again.
God,
like they doing weird stuff. Like y'all knew, like Bagley been up and down, but they knew a while ago he wasn't going to be what they drafted him to be. And of course, when you look at the guys who followed him in that draft, that pressure is mounting on him terribly. He needs a change of scenery. He needs a coaching staff that can put him in a better position that believes in him. I mean, that draft class, he's had the least success of the guys that were considered amongst the top. So that weighs on the guy's confidence. And then plus it's the Kings. Like, they've been rebuilding, so he really can't shine. He's been injured. He needs to go somewhere where he can get a change of scenery. I'm not sure what they can get for him compensation-wise, but just get him somewhere where he can have a coach that kind of builds him up. Try to get something from Portland for him, maybe. They could use some young talent up there, like a young big. If Siakam was to get moved, maybe get him in Toronto with a Nick Nurse. Like, Bagley needs to go somewhere where there's a solid coach that can help. He needs a development type of coach.
That's not a bad move, actually. Just the fact that, because I feel like Toronto, which is in this group, they're doing a what if because you got Siakam and Van Fleet,
Fred?
But you're hoping Scotty Barnes. You chose Scotty over Jalen Suggs, so that's going to be your interesting dilemma going forward. You still got OG there. You got Gary Trent, who you paid, in that trade from Portland. So a Bagley, Siakam, because one, that can help the Kings out because now you got two stars. Like, I believe Siakam's a star. I think he's a stat stuffer. And you talk about Fox, like, as a top 10 point guard, easily can score 25 and 6 every night. Like, so, like you said, you just hoping, like. But my favorite team out of this whole group is the Timberwolves. Like, we haven't seen them be healthy yet together. Cat, Ant-Man, D-Lo, Malik Beasley. All four of them combined for over 85 points last year. But they ain't play together. Like, so that's I think the Timberwolves could really, because you talk about the Pelicans, like we know Zion to get out of there, right? But I feel like Cat is another guy who deserves to be set free. And if this I think this got to be the last year for him. There's no way you can see it, because like with Ant-Man, D-Lo, those are like D-Lo is one of his best friends. But with Ant-Man emergence, I feel like Ant-Man is that man. Like, I don't know about you, but we talk about shooting guards. It would not surprise me if you rank him, like if you say Jimmy Butler, Paul George, and Middleton are not shooting guards. Like if they say they're small forwards. It would not surprise me if you can sit here and say he's a top 5 shooting guard. Because what shooting guard are you competing with? Harden,
you got Brad
Bill, Fox.
I mean,
not Fox. Booker and Mitchell.
Like it always breaks down to how you consider a guy's status. Like,
yeah,
like Luka by all-star and all NBA is gonna be a guard. So I say he's more 2 guard than point guard.
Fair enough.
Harden controls the ball, but we know he's a 2 guard. And of course you got like Bill. Do you consider Levine, DeRozan 2s or 3s?
Okay,
all
so
this
Levine can be 1 2.
Yeah,
do you think Ant-Man can get, like, because you see Levine like emerges as far as star and scoring? You think Ant-Man can get there this year, or you think might be a little too early? Because 20 points a game last year as a rookie is already impressive enough.
I mean, I think that was because of just the volume. Like Cat wasn't there, Russell wasn't there. Like so, some of that's volume induced. But he does have to improve his percentages all the way around. So some of that's volume induced, and then now you got to see what style they're gonna play. Like, will he be a feature part? Will he be the 2 option, the 3rd option? I'm gonna give it 30 games, see where they at, and that might be a Cat for Ayton type of trade. Like I'm gonna give it 30 games because he's cool with Book, so I'm gonna give it 30 games.
Teammates in college, yeah. And
So I'm gonna give it 30. I'm gonna give it 30 games. Ayton wants his money. He may want to go play with another young core in Minnesota. Cat could be frustrated with just the whole process, so I think that can kind of work out. You got to throw Ayton and then probably give another. Somebody got to get thrown in with that to make the money line up and stuff like that. Maybe some picks too, but Cat for Ayton should be something that's on the table after about 30 games. If Ayton's not happy and if Cat's not happy,
ooh, that's I guarantee you, Suns don't have no problem playing Cat. Guarantee.
He already paid. You just got to bring him in.
I like
and
that.
Like if you make a trade like that, they won't win MVP because they'll be competing for the stats with each other, like Booker and Cat. But they'll be the team of the future for us, like a Western Conference power, because they both are barely 24, 25 years old.
Right? Because I don't know, like as good as I know. A lot of people are mad about the Ayton thing. Like I've seen a lot of people saying, like, "Oh, Suns can't afford to not pay," which that's a good point. But he restricted, so like he ain't going well unless I say he goes well. Like at the end of the day, James Jones knows what he's supposed to do. But like a Cat and a like, are you mad like that Suns ain't pay Ayton? Like, do you think he deserved the? I mean, shit, Jaren Jackson got paid the max, and he don't even be playing. Like I don't even consider Jaren Jackson nowhere near the best player on the Grizzlies. Like I feel like Dylan Brooks more important than Jaren Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he got a bag, so I guess you can't. I guess I ain't gonna get no argument if.
It's always just that thing of the front office, man. Like Robert Sarver, he has a history of not paying certain guys. That's why the Suns probably didn't win the title because they let Joe Johnson walk to the Hawks. And, Steve Nash got some MVPs, but Joe Johnson, they could have signed him a year earlier for like a 4-year for 40, but then he plays value up. Now he goes to the Hawks and get like 100 mil. Yeah. So you could have kept your Nash, Joe Johnson, Marion, start him out of core, but they didn't pay him in time, and then he walks. So with this case, Ayton's, I think, 23, 24. Rookie deals normally at his spot pay like $12, $13 million. If you don't think he's getting better, it's like someone that's GM based and someone that's the owner, like we don't want to get this guy that next big deal. And James Jones is not an idiot. He's a smart dude. So I know by not paying Ayton, he has a plan.
He got a plan.
And the only thing I can see on the horizon is they're going to try to go get Ayton. Ayton out of there for a Cat.
I mean, I like it. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. All right, in the last group, man, before we get out of here, Spurs, Rockets, Cavs, Pistons, Thunder, and the Magic. Charlotte Hornets, shout out LaMelo. I feel like you're gonna be. I feel like you on the merge. You already arrived. Well, we know that already. But so Spurs, Rockets, Cavs, Pistons, Thunder, and the Magic has the lowest. So it's Pistons, Thunder, Magic, all one win separate from each other. Spurs, Rockets, and Cavs closer to 26.5 plus. Yo Spurs, man. I don't know what to think because you lose DeRozan for nothing, lost Aldridge for nothing, lost Kawhi. You traded for who? Portal and DeRozan gone now. So now you traded Kawhi basically for Portal, and that's a starting center. But Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott, Derek White, DeJounte Murray. That's the best 5 you got. I don't know. Like that, I'm not saying I'm not saying the Spurs won't be sorry, but it's the reason why they got them under 30 wins this year.
No, this won't be a very good team. They don't really. I think Keldon Johnson is going to be the most improved player if they're in a winning situation, for example, or at least close to it.
Yeah.
Just because that Team USA experience, I think he could really take a jump up in stats wise. He'll get some volume because there's no Rudy Gay, there's no DeMar DeRozan, like there are just no LaMarcus Aldridge. There's no veteran guy sucking up all your shots. So I think he'll definitely benefit from that. DeJounte Murray could contend for Defensive Player of the Year for at least a part of the season. Just he's he's a pest on the defensive passing lanes. But everything else, Lonnie Walker, last year of his rookie deal. Let's see what happens with that. They still have Derek White. They drafted Primo. Like they've had Devin Vassell. They have a lot of first round picks here, but they're all mainly guards and wings. So you gotta shake it out some kind of way.
I think
then you got McDermott does. You gotta shake it out some kind of way.
I think the Lonnie Walker Primo is probably right on the wall there, right? Like you don't draft somebody who can shoot the basketball who can score the basketball like Primo, and who Lonnie Walker, that's his job. So like I don't know. I feel like that's because they're not gonna pay him. They're not gonna pay him. They're not gonna pay Lonnie. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean they already gave Murray money, Derek White money.
If you got Vassell small forward and you got Primo who can play shooting guard, where Lonnie gonna fit in? Why? I say this.
I don't know what Lonnie and Brandon Ford's role is gonna be.
Well, forwards, I guess forwards the Patty Mills role. I mean,
I don't know. They
got another guard like I don't know. Maybe Spurs and Boston need to sit together because they ain't talk about why they like people under 6'9" so much. Like I just don't understand. Like Keldon, they got Keldon playing power forward, man.
Like the Spurs, bro. But they had DeMar doing it. Like the Spurs are just trying to find. They're just trying to find something. Like they're just in search and find mode because that the whole Kawhi, the big three ending, the Kawhi situation, all of that really turned the franchise upside down basically almost overnight because Kawhi was supposed to be that piece, that top 5 player that you build around him and close in the gaps. But now once he, the locker room turned on him, they didn't trust the medical staff or whatever the case may be. He just wanted to get out and get to LA. I mean, I'm not upset either way it goes. The guy wanted to go home, he wanted to go home. But however it played out for him, that turned the franchise overnight. Greg Popovich getting older. I'm sure he don't want to keep rebuilding. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you brought DeMar in. They still made the playoffs one year, but they just been regressing since then. You got to figure everything out. You got to basically find another franchise piece. The NBA revolves around franchise pieces. So you got to find another franchise piece and hope some solid pieces come around them at discounted prices.
You got 5 choices, and you got no choice. You have to watch 82 games of this one team: Rockets, Cavs, Pistons, Thunder, Magic.
Rockets.
Watching the Rockets. Okay. Now with you. I like that.
I like that. Christian Wood, Jalen Green on probably Rookie of the Year. I want to see what happens with John Wall. He already said he ain't playing with them, so let's see what happens with John Wall. We love Eric Gordon, what he brings to the table.
He's there. He's playing. So I wonder if he's okay with the rebuild. I feel like Eric Gordon probably deserves that, help a team win a championship at this point in his career. But I guess until they find a trade partner, he gonna come in, do the work, and till.
I mean, for $18 to $20 million, he kind of stuck because a lot of teams already got people in his spot at $18 to $20 million. He kind of stuck. Like the Lakers can't go get him, the Nets can't go get him. So for 18 to 20, he kind of stuck.
And
then he's like early to mid 30s too. So a lot of guys that are already getting paid that kind of money, like your Duncan Robinson and Joe Harris, they younger than him. So the team not incentivized to go get Gordon. He's proven.
You already know why I say he should go. Sixers, Ben Simmons, Eric Gordon, and John Wall to the Sixers for Ben. I don't know, because I don't know if you ever gonna get a Dame. I know it is. We all talk about this, but I don't know if you ever gonna get a Dame Lillard. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think you're gonna get a CJ either. Like at this point, like season already started now. Like who gonna take the leap? Because
somebody gonna do it.
Somebody gonna do it at some point. I guess if I'm with you, so let's just say if you took that answer off the board for me. Interesting team is out of the last 4. I'm not gonna watch the Magic. I refuse to watch the Magic. I think they are the worst team in the NBA. But the Thunder is not a bad team to watch. With Shaq, who can, when healthy, can compete as one of the best shooting guards in the league. I like Lou Dort a lot. And my boy Poku, man, that's a 7-foot shooter. Hey, all you need is the picks to hit. And you got a 6-7 point guard. Josh Giddey from Australia. Like, you know, I don't know. He's a playmaker. So does he get shot? You know, because I love the teams that have two ball handlers, like two guys who can create for other people. So now you got two guys, and he's Shy 6'6", can play defense. Giddey 6'8", so you long. Like, I don't know, 7 foot at small forward. Lou Dort 6'4", but he real long. Like you, that's the team I'll choose. So you chose the Rockets, I'll choose the Thunder. Like they okay. They okay. I think because I think out of all the teams as of right now today, I think Shy is the best one out of all the 5 teams. But Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham should probably emerge, maybe better. But I'll take Shy, and I'm watching the best player at least. But where your boy Dunk at? He ever gonna put money on Thunder again? He done. He won and got out of there.
Man, yeah, he got me with the Chris Paul one, man. He got me on that one. The Thunder gonna be an interesting team going forward, man. Like anybody who bets on like daily games, you gotta be careful picking against the Thunder because they're gonna be some games. I mean, they're gonna probably be like a 20 to 30 win team. So that's 20 or 30 times. Don't bet against them because they're gonna beat you. They're gonna blow the parlay.
I'm about to say the Spurs, Rockets, Cavs, Pistons, Thunder, Magic are gonna be teams that's like I hope it don't happen soon. I say that. I hope it don't happen soon. But yeah, it's gonna be a good season. Shout out to the Cavs. My boy Rubio over there stuck in there, man. Free Rubio, man. Put my boy on a good team, man. But other than that, yeah, it's gonna be a good season. Is there any other bet like in over unders where you would bet at all if you had to choose like over under any team?
Not really. Like we said about Pacers, man, if they pretty healthy, that's gonna be a top 5 team in the East. So probably just them. But that's really about it, man. Like I'll be looking more towards like some odds on some player awards.
Yeah.
Like now that Giannis got that monkey off his back of the title, people gonna vote for him for MVP again. And if he put up stats like he did the other night in the game 1, he a lock. I mean, the dude really on like a 4-year MVP run because he could have got this past year. They just didn't vote for him like that.
Yeah.
Like every Jokic.
But he got Finals MVP, so I guess that's still a 4 MVP run. Same thing to me. So yeah, I think if I had to choose one, I'll put my money on either on Portland or Knicks to go over, or Chicago. Like I feel like that's Chicago at 42, and maybe everybody's just too high on the Bulls, but I feel like that's 3 All-Stars. Like DeRozan could be All-Star at any given time. He just was in the West. Levine, Vucevic, and then Lonzo is probably if not the best guard defender in the league. Like, hey,
well, man, you gotta look at it's gonna be as of today, 2 guard spots in the East will open up.
Kyrie
at some point. Kyrie and Ben.
Oh yeah, Ben. Yeah, that's right.
So 2 guard spots in the East should open up, barring Kyrie not getting vaccinated. Well, if he gets vaccinated, he'll be All-Star more likely. And then if Ben goes west, that's going to be 2 spots open up. So now you're looking at Trae Young going to probably be a lock. If Tatum's healthy, he'll be a lock. Harden, Durant. Well, Durant's a forward, but they'll probably put Tatum as a forward too. So just Trae, Harden.
Middleton will be a lock. Most likely.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler.
The Bulls could definitely get a guard in there. They could definitely get a guard. I'm thinking like teams.
Levine probably gonna get it. I guess the question is,
like I'm looking at this: Trae, Harden, and Beal are the locks for guards.
Beal. Yeah.
Since Kyrie and Ben are up in the air, Beal, Harden, and Trae should be locks as guards in the East.
I'll say this: it's not only Bulls. I don't think the question is do they get 2. I think the question is do they get 3. I think because Vucevic gonna be a lot, and Levine.
I don't know because they only got to get 1 center for Embiid. If he's healthy, he's gonna be in there.
Yes.
And then forward wise, they're gonna probably favor Bam over Vucevic because he's considered more like the 2 versus Vucevic like the 3. And then you start looking at the Durants, the Tatums, Sabonis.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
If he stays there, Siakam.
Okay.
I mean, he was on Team USA and could have been an All-Star this past year.
Randall, got to put Randall back on there.
You got to put Randall up there. Jeremy Grant. That's all. And you got to think about Giannis.
Oh yeah, damn, yeah, lock.
I mean, so you got it's so many guys. Man.
It's a lot of good players, man. A lot of good players, man. That's I'm about to say because you don't really have a lot of new people going places, right? Come look at the top teams. Nobody outside of Russ.
And we didn't even say Jimmy Butler. So like in that forward category, man, or like that you pick whoever two guys got the next amount of votes. The East is already kind of, as long as they're healthy, the East is kind of set.
Hey, my boy LaMelo might get up in there. You never know. All right, so that's our time for the show. We getting close, man. Great episode. Great sports coming up, so make sure y'all tune on that. Hey, next week, Rashad, I'm gonna be going to Minnesota to see the Cowboys versus the Vikings. Halloween Sunday primetime. That's gonna be exciting. I'm excited for that. So it's time to get back to the going to games, but I gotta get my basketball right. I'm a good prime location to hit some games, man. Hit some Sixers games, hit some Wizards games. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm waiting till the season heats up a little bit, and I'll kind of start hitting a couple of myself.
Oh yeah. All right, appreciate Rashad. We out.